Hello, everybody. I wanted to come to a Bitcoin chart to really kind of highlight some of the price structure in order to really kind of produce a very nice price prediction for Bitcoin. So I personally have been watching Bitcoin since I was, I'd say, 14 or 15 years old in high school. 26, approaching 27 now. But I really do have the experience to really acknowledge the reason as to why Bitcoin actually moons or goes really high each time that it does. So I really want to educate people around this kind of stuff because they don't really know exactly, why Bitcoin does what it does. But although I'd really like to just show you where we are now. We're at $44,000. We're actually going up somewhat more quickly, more recently, within the last day or two. But I would say that if you are very good with technical analysis and you're good with trading to begin with, and you're really good with maybe some of these indicators, like personally I like the RSI whenever you're really looking for highs and lows, as well as Vumanchu or market Cypher B, or some of these buy and sell indicator tools. This one has money flow, and it also has buy and sell signals, and it has wave trends, and it has RSI kinds and divergences on it. So if you take a pretty good close look, I would actually like to bring it all the way back to maybe even the beginning of Bitcoin with this time around. But I really want to highlight the very first thing before I do this. Each individual one of these gold bars is a halving date for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has a around 4-year halving date. It gets scratched in each time somewhat, but around approximately 4 years, we have a halving, which is what really causes the price of Bitcoin to really go high. So I want to pull Bitcoin all the way back, really to its creation and its launch to the public from the team of Bitcoin or the creator of Bitcoin. So if you bring it all the way back here to 2009, the price of Bitcoin was really kind of around 5 cents, 8 cents in its lowest. And then it ended up coming, maybe even before its halving, it launched all the way up to $30 or so. And really maybe even structured, around $4, $12, $16 maybe, in that kind of an area. But December 2012 is whenever it had its first halving process. At this time, I was too young to notice, of course, the halving process and why it actually moved up so high. But this is whenever Bitcoin really first moved up to $1,200, and it was immediately after right here, this first halving date. And so we had, I would say, a relatively normal market for Bitcoin post-halving. It got high and then it had a bear market. It had a very fast bull market and a very slow bear market, which is what you would expect with something like this, which is why Bitcoin is very valuable to me because it does the same thing every single time. But I'd say August 2016 was the next halving day, or the next halving month or so, and it exploded just like it did previously, and it ran up to 17,000 and very quickly 20,000. I remember these days. I bought Bitcoin. I bought like $1,000 worth of Bitcoin at $2,000 before it did all of this, and of course I didn't make much money out of it from the time. It was from Coinbase, but we ended up having another halving in June 2020, which really did the exact same thing to it more recently. And it caused the price to reach all the way up to almost 70,000. So it tested right into 69,000 and came down and had a slow bear market. Again, I'd say this one really was kind of more double. Sorry, excuse me 1 second. It was a little more double toppy in this kind of an area. I'll use my tool over here to kind of highlight exactly what I kind of mean. So we might face something like this, or maybe even a little bit better this next time around. So of course, post-halving right here, the price kind of went up and all the way to 69,000 more recently. We had, of course, a bear market after, and it kind of retested even higher. So, you could expect something like this, or maybe even better, or maybe even not as good this next time around. But I'm pretty bullish on it, and I'll tell you why. Because the price is certainly approaching our next halving date way faster than previous halvings that I've already highlighted. So the price is really already kind of approaching this April 2024 date. You might even see it test around $100,000 or so before the halving date. It's not a guarantee or a promise. You might find some resistance, some normal natural resistance around here, 69,000 or so. However, we are really kind of approaching this halving again. So when we do, I personally can expect, I might look around maybe 400 to 800, if not $1 million or more with the price. So practically, you might seriously see it, of course, break over 100,000. I think that it will. I think you'll certainly see 145,000 or more. I'm feeling for $200,000, $215,000, but I think it can go much higher than that with its repetition of its halving process. So personally, I think we might see something like $500,000 Bitcoin, but it's possible we could also even see $1 million Bitcoin. So that might actually come even after a year or two after the halving process. So I wouldn't expect the price to be at $1 million at the halving date. I might expect the price to maybe even be potentially less than 100,000 by the halving date. So with that being said, by then you would want to hold it post-halving, like you simply should, and like it has been every single time. So which is why people are buying, which is why people are holding, which is why the price isn't going down all too easily. But if you really kind of focus around here, this is our previous halving, and it didn't moon immediately after, but it did. It did eventually, within a matter of 2 months, it really started creeping to really kind of reach for these highs. And we are really facing a much better bull market personally, generally on all markets. So I watch, even our stock market, I watch the Forex market, but I primarily watch cryptocurrency market because it's some of our better methods of income with our current age. The stock market is already very developed, and it's already very, I don't want to say cluttered, but it's already very structured in a very it's harder to find gaps with the stock market nowadays in comparison with cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, of course, I really adore. I have passion for Bitcoin. I watch many others as well, primarily pre-17 cryptocurrencies. I don't do enough research around cryptocurrency right now as far as alts go, but my research is around Bitcoin. I'd say we now have things like high leverage or more higher margin or more leverage opportunities now with Bitcoin and other altcoins. So that's where my focus is when it comes to day trading and trading. I'm looking at really biting and holding on to longs, holding some very nice longs or even decades, because I'm the kind to tell you that I don't think Bitcoin's going to want to come back down currently where it is forever, for as far as we can see, as far as our lives go. So I think it's still a buy territory with Bitcoin. I might be resistant around here due to truly this toppy area previously, but it isn't turning back, and the RSI says no thank you by the look of it on these higher time frames. And if you look over here to the wave trends on this market Cypher, this is market Cypher B, Vumanchu. It's a free market Cypher B. It's a clone of some of these others that I've seen other technical analysis guys use. But it's actually very clear to me, if you like to use the RSI, you might see it come around here and really kind of top over here again, like you've seen with these two other spots around here in this area. One second, let me kind of bring my tool over here. I really use my phone primarily when it comes to anything with TA, with crypto, and I really kind of prefer it. So if you hear my bad mic too, I'm really kind of just talking to the normal mic on my cell phone. But the RSI, if you see it around here, it really kind of tops around with these very high green areas with the RSI. It's a normal RSI. It's a 14 RSI, but it can also really kind of come really high on the RSI and not be its high as well. So you can notice where my red line is down there in the RSI, we actually have a higher high with a much lower high on the RSI immediately after it. So you could see something like that again. You might see a double test or a triple test, which can really drive this price up if people really catch on to Bitcoin. So I'd say the reason for Bitcoin, for it to go really high, it would be post-halving. The supply is going to get cut in half. Imagine gold and all of its supply being cut entirely in half. You know what that would do? I would make the price of gold really skyrocket. So Bitcoin was, I would say, coded or designed to do this every 4 years. And this time we're pretty much looking at, like I said, April of 2024 this time around. So if you're watching this video, if I gave you enough info around, you're going to want to learn maybe the main fundamentals on cryptocurrency. With Bitcoin, I'd say mainly it's, of course, the oldest, it's the first, and its main fundamental to me would be the halving process and the mining system. Of course, it is, of course, older than others, but I would say that it is the gold, it is the daddy of cryptocurrency. I, of course, watch Ethereum, I watch Ripple, I'm even from Litecoin, Dogecoin. I even go as far as maybe looking at some of the AI coins as well, but mostly Bitcoin with me. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate a like or a subscribe or a comment. So I appreciate it. Thank you.